Hello,
lots of
gang.
Nods, lots of nods. Right, so basically we are going to be telling you a little bit about our journey from doing this as a little hobby in our my garage where Jonny couldn't even stand up because it was a tiny little thing, to this being our full-time jobs. And we have a stand over there. Some of you have already been over there. We've got a whole team of people with us, and we're doing workshops that we'll do some demonstrations today. And it's just that story, really. And in between, we're going to show you a little bit between the difference of where we started to where we are now, hopefully to kind of inspire you a little bit as to if you wanted to take a hobby into a full-time job, but also just because it's cool to look at and it's interesting.
Cool. Okay, so who are we? I am Jonny. I am the younger, more charismatic, more humble brother. This is my older, more sensible brother Matthew. And I think it was about 8 years ago now, we started up Brothers Make. And Brothers Make is basically we're a recycled plastic company. So we've got a few different areas of the business we work in. So we've got the main bit, and the bit that we started out with was the YouTube channel. So we're making content, trying to teach other people how to recycle plastic at home, and trying to help raise a bit of awareness about plastic problems, everything like that. But we also have a full production workshop now. So we've got a team of people who are recycling plastic all day, every day. We're taking it from beaches, we're taking it from businesses, schools, and then we recycle it in our workshop. And we also help set up a few more of the businesses that we run. So a few more of our workshops, we've helped set some up around the world as well.
But obviously it didn't start like that. Right up in the top left corner is my little boy. He doesn't look like that anymore. This was back in 2017. And Luca was born at a time where Jonny and I hadn't really hung out very much when we were younger. We're 4.5 years different, but we've always been fairly close. And then Luca was born, and as I'm sure any of you new parents will find, that things get a little bit busy. And we weren't really hanging out very much. We weren't really seeing each other very much. Jonny was traveling a lot, living a life, and I was at home looking after my new little one. So we thought we'd make a little project for ourselves, and that project was, let's turn my fairly derelict, dreary old garage into something where we can actually use it, and we can actually have a bit of time in there to spend some time. There was no plans at this point to make a YouTube channel. It was very much just, let's make stuff. Actually, the way it started was that Jonny, for those of you that follow us may know that he is a semi-talented drummer. He's in about 14 different bands all at once.
I'll take that.
And the deal was that as a D&T teacher at the time, I was going to teach him how to make things, and he was going to teach me how to drum. Now, the thing that he loves to tell everyone is that we have now a making company together, and I apparently am the most unteachable person he's ever met.
Absolutely unteachable.
At playing the drums.
Worst drummer you've ever heard.
I blame the teacher. But it was essentially just a reason to hang out with each other. There was no, we're going to make a business out of this in a few years' time mindset. It was just, hey, let's try and find a reason to hang out, get in the garage. And this was the garage that Jonny couldn't stand up in. That was the tall end, by the way, in that picture down there. The opposite end, where we did all our voiceovers, Jonny was a little bit kind of
always stood like this.
Little wide stance, quite a squat position. But it worked, and it was good fun, and we had a good time doing it. And we basically just started off making lots of stuff for Instagram, very much woodworky scrap projects. A lot of this hardwood looks very expensive, but I basically just robbed it from the school I was working at. And yeah, just made a few things. And it was just, at this point, it was just posting a few things to Instagram, just so our mum could like it, really. We actually made her an Instagram account just so she could follow us. And yeah, that was the only real goal at that point. There was nothing much more to it.
So this is our first ever YouTube video. I think we uploaded it. It was 8 years ago yesterday.
Yeah.
So we came to the first ever Maker Central because we wanted to be official YouTubers. So we came here, having uploaded our first ever video, and it's such a bad video. So if you do one thing, it's don't go and watch that video. It's
cool
very
product.
cringy.
It's a cool product, just a terrible video.
The thing we made was quite cool. We wanted to make a games controller rack, and the video is fine. But I think the point is that a lot of people now ask us, like, oh, okay, well, I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel, but they really hung up on that first video. That video is so far away from what we do now. I'm really happy we just got going with it, because it's the reason we actually got started. So I'm still very grateful for that video. It's just a bad video. So
some of you
not a big
may have heard of a name called Jimmy DeResta, and Jimmy DeResta has a podcast called the Making It Podcast, and they have an episode, I think it was episode 14 or something, very, very, very early on. And the episode was called Getting Started. And I met Jimmy a long time ago, before Maker Central actually, and just said to him, I wanted to start something myself, but I don't really know what to do. He said, just do something. Doesn't matter what it is, because whatever you do at the start, it's not going to be what you do 5 years later. So getting started was the hurdle that we climbed. And I think us hanging out in the garage making a few kind of rubbish scrapwood projects was the getting started. And again, so far away from what we do now, but helped us kind of get that momentum.
Yeah, and essentially, for the next year and a half, that's kind of what we did. We just met, we had our full-time jobs. This was bringing in absolutely no money, and we had no intention of ever really bringing in any money. It was very much just us hanging out every week on a Monday night. We just scheduled that time aside to go into the workshop and just make something together. So a lot of the stuff we made, and it was kind of always had this undertone of sustainability there. We always like to use reclaimed materials and things like that. We just didn't realize at this point that was the sort of the direction we were going to go down.
In 2019, we were very, very lucky that one of our posts that we made got recognized by somebody at Triton Tools. Triton Tools used to be a big sponsor of Maker Central, now no longer exists. But Triton Tools came to us and they said, we like what we're doing. We're looking for kind of fresh UK faces to come in. And they had lots of ambassadors all over the world, but they didn't really have a UK face, if you like. So they said, how about we give you a bit of money to work for us 1 day a week and make some videos, make some YouTube content, basically get our name out there a little bit. How much would that cost? And John and I were kind of getting really excited, thinking, oh my God, we're getting paid to make content now. So we went back and we calculated what a day at each of our respective jobs. I was teaching and Johnny was in marketing. And we went back and we said, we added a little bit more just because, why not? And we said, this is how much we make, thinking they're never going to go for it. And they said, sure, why not? So that then was us being paid 1 day a week, and we actually used that day. It was a Monday. We started work at 8 o'clock every Monday morning, and we finished work about 1 o'clock every, I guess, Tuesday morning. Yeah. So it was a full kind of 16-hour day. We'd make half of that time would be content for Triton, and the rest of our time was content for ourselves. And it really felt like, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, that was really...
Came to Maker Central the next year thinking we're getting paid to make content now.
Yeah, that was the first time it started to move a little bit more towards a kind of hint of a job, is the fact that actually we could monetize it. And that was a huge stepping stone for us, the fact that we could reduce that day job just a little bit. We didn't need to go down to no hours and go full time with this. That was never going to make us enough money. But at this point, that was a huge enabler for allowing us what we wanted to do.
Now, in December of 2019, I was still teaching at this point. I had a very, very talented group in a girls' grammar school, and they'd just flown through every single thing I'd given them. And we had about 3 weeks before Christmas, and they said to me, can we make something different? Can we do something different? And I'd been playing around with some recycled plastics. I'd made a few mallets and hammers. I'd watched people like Peter Brown. I'd watched a few people doing similar things like this, and just messing around, basically trying to find a way to reuse the plastics that schools make, because any of you are teachers or have been in schools make a lot of plastic waste, laser cutting and all this stuff. So I'd been playing around. They said, can we make a pen? Now, I'd never made a pen in my entire life, let alone one out of recycled plastic. So I said, let's try it. And we made it. And that picture in the middle is the first ever pen that one of my students made, which I actually think looks very cool, but it's not a very pretty color. We perfected it. I say perfected. We did a few more. And the right-hand side was a slightly more refined version. And I brought one home just before Christmas, and Johnny said to me, why don't we make a video out of that? Why don't we make a YouTube video about making pens? And I said, man, we are not good at making pens. Like, all the people that know how to make pens are going to just laugh us off the internet. And I said, but he said, look, let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? So we did. And we made... Well, actually, I'm ahead of myself, aren't I? Yeah. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second. But whilst I'm talking about that, we thought actually it'd be quite fun to show you how we made those pens, like what that early days of recycled plastic looked like. And Johnny's going to do a little demo using our Panini press.
So this is our Panini press. This is our first one we ever got. It was £3 from a charity shop, and it has built a whole business.
This Panini press is responsible for quite a few million views on our YouTube channel, I would say.
Her name is Pressica Alba. I think Dave named her, so...
Pressica Alba, yeah.
And it is a very basic process that we adopted and still use to this day. Essentially, you don't have to have a Panini press. Anything that you can kind of control temperature on, you can use an air fryer, you can use a heat gun and a bean can. It all works. The things that we like to work with a lot are bottle tops. Bottle tops are HDPE. Hello, this is fun. HDPE plastic. So they work really well for this kind of thing. They melt at a low temperature. They don't give off any toxic fumes or anything like that. So once you've got your heat press, it's going to just be a case of getting all these lined up on there. You've got the black sheets called Teflon baking sheets. That's just going to stop the plastic from sticking to the press. And I will be using gloves in a second. And actually, I'll finish getting this lined up. Matt, you carry on so I can do this.
So I'm going to switch back to the presentation if Captain Steve doesn't mind just putting it up on the screen for me. There he is. So this was the video we made, and I was telling you about making a rubbish video. This was the first time we ever really put thought into a thumbnail, and we were really proud of this, weren't we? We spent a long time with a sheet in our garage, and we thought this looked great. And we called it the ultimate guide to HDPE. I think a little bit of imposter syndrome. Not really sure it was the ultimate guide, but certainly it was everything we knew about it.
We've done it for 2 weeks.
Arguably very little. But this video we posted on the 28th of December. Now, the 28th of December, if you can see our stats, this is from our YouTube stats, we were getting a grand total of 10 subscribers a day from all of the other videos we've been making, and we were absolutely buzzing with 10 subscribers a day. Honestly, we thought we were top of the world. A couple of days later, we got to early January, we were getting 50, 60, 70, 80 subscribers a day, and we thought, hold on, what's going on here? Someone must be clicking on the wrong channel and hitting that subscribe button. But very shortly after that, we got to the 7th of January, this is less than a week later, and we started getting 1,000 subscribers a day off just one video. And this kind of blew our little tiny minds a little bit, thinking, how can one video have that power? But this is kind of the power of social media, really. Something resonated with somebody. I'm not sure if it was, what was this, 2018? Not sure if it was the time of, the year it was, or something resonated with somebody. It was the way we kind of, I guess, approached this in quite a DIY, accessible way that other people can do. And we were just absolutely buzzing. We went from, I believe, 6,000 subscribers to 60,000 subscribers in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, our heads were just, thank you, Dave. And we were just absolutely buzzing with it. We couldn't, we didn't really know what to do with it at that point. We did certainly think, actually, maybe recycled plastic's got a bit of something to it, and let's actually go with that a little bit more. Are we ready to have a look at that, or not quite?
We can have a little look. I'll give it a minute. You carry on.
Give it a minute. All right, I'll carry on.
I'll make some gloves.
So 2020, we all know what happened that year, don't we? But 2020, we thought, okay, let's ride the coattails of this success. Let's take a little bit of, we just started finding our feet and thinking maybe recycled plastic is the thing we want to focus on. We did mix it in between. We're obviously still doing content for Triton. We were doing a few things. This bottle jack press that's literally on the stage is the same one in that picture. We built that thinking, let's try and make something cool that can help us recycle plastic. And we started interspersing more videos through the standard videos we were making. If you can see on the left, that stool, which we still have in our workshop, that got over 1 million views, and it really started to pick up traction. And we were thinking, this has got something here. We found a little niche. And I think finding a niche, especially on something as big as YouTube, is quite a difficult thing to do. We felt like we started finding our niche, and we were quite buzzing with that, weren't we?
Right, should we
have a little look? Right,
yeah.
So we're going to have a little look. This is kind of what the bottle tops look like after about 2 to 3 minutes of heat. Now, the important thing is that we're never burning plastic. We get hundreds of comments, probably a day, maybe a week, on this saying, oh, you're going to, all these fumes you're going to get, you're going to get super poorly from this. But the thing is that we're never burning it. We have 2 super important things that we do. Number one is we never never melt anything that has any sort of contaminants in it. The worst smell we get in our workshop is the smell of old milk, because when people don't wash their bottle tops, it can really, especially when it's warm, it can really start humming. So yeah, that's the worst smell you get. If it's clean, and because we're melting it at a super low temperature, the Panini press gets to about 180 degrees Celsius. There is no worries, especially with this particular material. There are plastics that you wouldn't want to heat up, PVC being the worst of those. Please don't ever melt PVC. But yeah, we essentially aren't really ever doing anything dangerous with plastics because we've done a lot of research into our temperatures and things like that. And we made a whole video about that as well. So back on the screen, if possible, Steve-O. So this one is showing basically some other videos. You saw the stool. We started this series called Quick Cuts. We had the year of 2020, the year of fun, and we thought, actually, we've just got this momentum going, and now we can't even be in the same room together. Now what do we do? I'll tell you what, YouTubing didn't count as essential services, unfortunately. So what we did is I made videos in the garage at my house. I would send all the files digitally to Jonny, and Jonny would edit all the files and put them up. We couldn't obviously be on camera together, so we made the series called Quick Cuts, and Quick Cuts was just a quick version of what we were previously doing. And we made lots of, and again, some of this video, that's HDPE cutting board. I think, is it still our top video?
I think so, yeah.
So about 3 million views, I think, that video. And that was all just things we were doing during COVID. Couldn't hang out together, but we thought, let's try and make something. So what Jonny's doing now is he's got the nice warm plastic, and we've actually got one of our molds. If we can pop back to the camera, Steve.
Sorry, Steve.
Steve's nailing it. So we're squishing that down just into that mold. Now, that mold actually does make proper products. You can obviously just make a flat sheet and cut it out later, but with our limited time, we thought we'd use one of these molds. And you just squish it in, and then you heat it up a couple more times, and then hopefully, if we're lucky, it will fill the whole thing.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a mold like this. It's just a laser cut piece of steel, but you can have anything. Wooden molds are what we started with for a long time, and they work great. All you're trying to do is essentially get it molten, twist it and fold it enough so you've got a nice little marbled pattern. Then you heat it up one final time, put it into your mold, and let it cool. So as soon as that's remelted one last time, I'm going to take it over to the bottle jack press, and then it's pretty much done. It will just be a case of, in 20 minutes, I can take it out, demold it, and that's a beautiful, hopefully
by the end of the talk, it'll be cool enough we can show you what it looks like at least. So we got to this point where hopefully we were kind of out of the risky area. We kind of actually were able to hang out and do more videos together. But because of the videos being so successful, and because of the videos getting potentially some of them hitting millions of views, we had people saying to us like, "Look, can we buy this stuff? You're making cool stuff. It looks really nice. Can we buy it?" And we said, "Yeah," but obviously if most people buy coasters in sets of 4. It's taken Jonny about 10 minutes, and we're not even made one yet. So very slow way to make products. It absolutely can be done, but a little bit faster would actually make things a bit better. So we actually bought these machines, and these machines on the screen, if possible, there we go. These machines are by a company called Plasticpreneur. They're based in Austria, and these are small-scale recycling machines that can do exactly what we're doing here, but they just do it a bit quicker. So what this allowed us to do, we got a shredder in the middle, which took plastic like the bottle tops and shredded it into little Salt Bay type flakes. We got along the left an injection molding machine, which if you were at the Naked Central last year, you may have used one of those to actually do the workshop. And then we had an extrusion machine, which can make bigger things, which I'll talk about in a second. But these machines allowed us to take this process of taking plastic bottle tops and melting them on a little sandwich press to actually saying, right, we can actually now sell products, and we can make this on a scale where we can actually churn out things a little bit quicker. All good?
Yeah, do you have a set of pliers? We can undo that at the end.
I do have a set of pliers.
Excellent work.
Have you clamped it?
No, I'm just
I see. It's
doing
not
a
in
final
yet.
melt.
It's not in yet. So yeah, these machines allowed us to do that, and in that process, we started making products, and these were the first 3 or 4 products that we made. Plant pots and key rings. We had this thing called a coffee carrier, which was our idea, and we were really proud of it until we realized it took about 15 years to make one. So we discontinued one of them. It's something we really want to bring back because it's such a cool product and it's super unique. But yeah, we found our niche. We made a lot of mistakes. We spent a lot of money. We were trying to use the YouTube income to kind of help us build that. But plant pots, like these plant pots, that on the bottom left picture, I took that picture on my dining room table, and we still sell those plant pots today. And the key rings, same thing with the key rings. We're still selling those exact same products. So it was a kind of a stepping stone into the world of actually selling recycled plastic products and finding people who are interested in this story. Are you going to do your bit now?
Yeah, so we're all good now. That's all melted. So essentially you need to get it straight under pressure. It doesn't need a long time to cool down. So in this case, we're using a bottle jack press, but you can use anything. You can use a couple of clamps. You can use a vise at the end of your workbench. Any of that will do the job. Is it coming out?
You can see we're real pros at this.
Yeah, I haven't got my pliers to undo this, that's why.
Oh, do you want me to undo it?
Nah, that's all right, I'll make it work.
All right.
There we go.
Professional.
So, just like that, within seconds, I've got it under pressure. There you go.
And this little machine we built, these are trampoline springs, by the way. You can literally see how we made this video. And this was a lot of the presses you get are like welded things. This is just bolted together. This is some scrap wood. Didn't we pick this up from like some scrapyard guy? And we just kind of fandangled this thing together, and we use it all the time still. And this was made in like 2019 or 2020. So really cool little machine. It's based off of a bookbinding press. Anyone seen a bookbinding press? It's a very similar concept. You may have known, anyone know of a YouTuber called Get Hands Dirty? Anyone seen them? A couple of you are nodding. She made, Christiana, I think her name is. She made a bookbinding press that looked like this, and we just beefed it up a little bit. Cool. Are we going back or are we going forward?
No, that's fine. That's fine. So at the end of 2021, we finally figured it was time to move out of our tiny little garage that I was breaking my back in because I couldn't ever stand up, and we moved into an actual all right looking size workspace. If you can switch your back here, you can see us having a little celebratory wiggle around when we first moved in.
We still do it every day.
And this was like a huge game changer for us because now we could use the money that we'd made so far with the channel to start actually paying for rent on it was albeit a very small workshop, but it was much bigger than what we were used to.
And you could stand up.
And I could stand up and do some sweet, sweet moves. And at the same time, we also brought in a couple of members of the team. So it's still very much part-time. We're still doing our full-time jobs. Matt was down to 3 days a week. I was doing 4. And so that meant that we could bring in a couple of members of the team. So we brought in George and Hannah. George was still with us. He's on the workshop, running the workshop today. And they just came in and they were doing some part-time work for us as well. So me and Matt were still trying to be the face of like this channel. George and Hannah were making a lot of the products for us. And because we had the new space, it meant that we could really start to open up the kind of things we were making. It wasn't just, here's a Panini press, here's some bottle tops, here's a coaster. We could start to make some bigger and some kind of cool things. We had more space, and we were trying to move from just like, here's a DIY process to trying to inspire people and show what could be done with this material. Because plastic is an awesome material, it just gets used in the wrong way. So we made things from axes. We made this a really cool one down the middle. In the bottom was what we called the recycle wagon, which is essentially a big wagon. At the end of COVID, no one wanted to drop their bottle tops to us anymore because they didn't want to go outside. So we made a wagon so we could go out and collect it from them. And we couldn't decide who was going to cycle it, so we just welded 2 bikes side by side and then cycled it around town, collecting people's bottle tops. And that was a wholesome video, and we still have that to this day.
And in that whole process, we were still expanding our shop. We were investing any money that we made on the channel, any money we made through selling products, we reinvested. We kind of had the nice position where we were still working part-time. We could kind of incrementally take that step down. It wasn't so much of a giant leap of faith. It was a few stepping stones of faith. Yeah. And that kind of allowed us to kind of reinvest everything that we made and just kind of try and think, okay, let's pick up a different mold. We got combs, beads. Now these beads were probably a huge turning point in our kind of recycled plastic product making career, because we're now running a huge bracelet making workshop here, and we're getting hundreds of people through over the course of this weekend. We sell these. I don't know if anyone knows a company called 4Ocean. 4Ocean make beautiful products, and they pull material out of the ocean for every product they sell. We've now just finished, or just almost finished, an order of 200,000 of these beads, and they're launching those through their website, and their sales, they're really happy with the sales, and they keep ordering more, so we're like, yep, let's keep doing that. Sweet. And because we had the space, and I talked about that extrusion machine that was the one on the right-hand side a few slides back, we could make these bigger products. And one of the bigger products we made was this bench, and this bench was made from COVID PPE waste. For those of you that don't know, the face masks, those kind of blue face masks, they're all plastic, apart from the little metal nose strip inside. They're 100% plastic. They don't look like it, but they are. So we actually partnered with a company, and this was the first piece of furniture ever to be made out of 100%.
Attention, please. Can Steve Mitchell
Rude.
please come to the organiser's office? Steve Mitchell, please come to the organiser's office.
Come on, Steve.
Where are you? So this was the first ever piece of furniture made from COVID waste. And yeah, we were super proud of this. This was a video that we took a long time making, and we extruded all of this. Obviously a huge amount of plastic compared to a tiny little coaster or whatever we're making. But it also got the attention of some big people. I don't know if anyone knows Jaden Smith, son of Will Smith, if that helps, artist and actor. And he messaged us on Instagram, "You guys make benches?" Yeah, we do. I mean, we made one bench at this point, so we pretended and we kind of faked it till we made it. Faked it, fade it, fake.
Made it.
Made it.
Yeah, that'll do.
And we said, yeah, we make benches. What do you want? And he actually ended up buying 10 of our benches in various different colors, and these shipped out to California. Apparently, he did give one to his dad, so Will Smith is sitting on one of our benches. I don't know why that sounds more exciting than Jaden Smith.
He's a Fresh Prince, because it is exciting.
Also, Will Smith's a little bit of a controversial character.
He was
these
cool
days,
back
isn't
then.
he? So Jaden Smith has a bench, and some other people do as well. But he ordered 10 of these, and this allowed us to not only recycle loads more plastic, and actually, that year I think we processed over a ton of recycled waste just into products. All of these benches were made from recycled DVDs, largely from charity shops that can't sell the DVDs anymore. So the cases that we get beautiful, beautiful bright colors, we turned into these benches. And that's the wrong slide. And yeah, this was just something that kind of elevated us. And we thought, actually, we've got quite a big attention now from some fairly big names. And yeah, we're still talking to Jaden. And every so often he sends us a message and he says, hey, can you make one of these? And we're just investing in a machine that can allow us to make much bigger products. And hopefully we'll give some to Jaden. And that'll be exciting as well.
So a big part of how we try and keep our business running is that we don't try and stay in one place for too long. We're not just sticking with YouTube videos. We know the nature of YouTube videos, that we could be doing really well at one point and it can dry up quite quickly. We go through peaks and troughs. Sometimes it's working great, it doesn't always. So we want to make sure that we've got our fingers in quite a few different plasticky pies, because we want to make sure we have different ways that we can earn money. So we did, for a long time, it was just the products and the YouTube videos. But then a few years ago, we started to actually launch our own kind of sub-brand, and we designed the most a more high-end items. These are our recycled plastic sunglasses. They're called Loops. Bought some earlier, legend. And it was quite a really cool point for us. It was our most proud of a product we've been. We spent a lot of time really trying to make it the best we could, and it's our first fully circular product. So they're basically, if they break, they come back to our workshop, we fix them or recycle them, and they go back to the customer. So it's a really nice example of the circular economy. So that's something we're sort of moving towards now, and a lot of the things that we're making now are products that we're wholesaling for other customers. So it's a big part of what we're doing.
And all the while, we're still trying to make YouTube content, and YouTube content is, I would say, still a backbone of what we do. We kind of split our time now between making videos and making products. And products has become really, really popular that we find ourselves making less videos. And as soon as you make less videos, I don't know if anyone makes YouTube videos here, as soon as you make less, the algorithm starts forgetting who you are. So we need to remind it who we are and make some more videos. But because of the success of our business in general, we can take the profits we've made from recycled plastic and all these beads and all these commissions we've had, and we've now hired a videographer. So Jonny used to do all of our editing for all of our videos. I think up until the last 2 or 3, it's all Jonny, other than 1 or 2 from me, which aren't the best ones, I'm not going to be the first to admit. But yeah, the last couple of videos we've been super proud of in terms of the production quality. I think they look fantastic. Brad, who's our editor, shout out to Brad, is an absolute legend. But we just need to kind of get the content out there. So hopefully push that back up and get us a bit more relevant in there. But we're trying to push this education side as well. So our business mantra is to try and recycle as much plastic as possible, but also inspire other people to do so. Teaching people, I talked a little bit about fumes, right? So that was all in that video there, teaching people how to identify between different types of plastic, because we never mix plastics. If you didn't know, there's hundreds of types of plastic. I know there's a certain amount of little triangles, but there are hundreds of types. And we were contacted very early days. Do you remember this? By a company I don't think I'm allowed to say.
Probably not.
And they said, no, probably not. And they said, could you make, this was huge. This was why we're just starting. And they said, can we order a couple of 100,000 units of this from our material? And we were like, yeah, cool. Yeah, what do you want? And they said, yeah, our material is a mix of this and this. And we were like, look, we just can't break our main ethos on the first big question we get. So we turned it down because if you mix plastics together, if I had 2 types of plastic, mix it together, you'd probably make a good product. But as soon as it comes to recycling that in the future, there's no way of identifying what that material is. So it has to go to landfill. So our ethos is to separate everything. And that's what that video was. And all the way through, we're always trying to kind of that mix of education, but also trying to make it fun and engaging and exciting.
And then I suppose off the back of doing this for quite a long time, we were some of the very early adopters of working with recycled plastic. So now a sort of a third branch of our business, and a big part of it has been consultation. So I mentioned earlier, we've been helping set up other recycling workshops around the world, which is an awesome part of our job. I love doing it. So we went out to the Gambia a couple of years ago with our friend Rory, who has a stand over here. And over there we helped set up a brand new workspace that not only helps clean up that area, but also created jobs for all the local people. And we've done this a few times. We did a similar in Turks and Caicos as well. And it was a similar situation. There's a chap there called Wellington, you see in the middle. He managed to get a grant. He came to us, and we worked with him. We tried to understand who his customers would be, and we designed all these molds together. Then we flew out and trained him and his team. And it's a nice way to spend a week in the Caribbean as well.
We got paid to be in the sun for a week, which was fun. That's probably a GIF that's taking a long time to load. So while that's loading, I'll talk about something else. Can you remember what this GIF is?
No idea.
No idea either. But essentially, we were just using, consultation is like another arm to our business. And we've now got recycling products, we've got making videos, and then we've got consulting other people to do the same thing. So it's, I think back in the day, before I talked about meeting Jimmy DiResta really early on, it's like, I really want to do something. I don't know what it is, but I want to do something for myself. I don't want to work for anybody else anymore. What is that going to be? And I think that pressure of thinking about, well, I really want to do something, that stopped me doing that whole getting started process. And I think that was actually the thing that allowed me to, just get going, have a go. We're not doing the things we started doing, but we're certainly having a good time doing what we're doing. Should we do the?
Say, why don't you show Dago?
So, back on there we go. That's what it was. It was that GIF that was loading. Malaysia was another trip we did, just to add that to that one. But yeah, Malaysia. That was my point. This machine was an injection molding machine, and this floor of a governmental office building in Malaysia, we were trying to inspire the Malaysian government to buy loads of machines and recycle loads of plastic. That was on the 40-something floor of the Malaysian government building in Kuala Lumpur, and they did not have a lift for the first 5 floors. So I carried that machine on my shoulder up there, and it was incredibly, it was about 42 degrees and very muggy. So this leads me on to this machine. This is the kind of brand new machine from the same company. This is called the Go series. We really want to get back into schools. We want to get into education again. We want to inspire people to recycle plastic as quick as possible. And this machine means that I can put it in the boot of a car rather than hiring a van and carrying it up 14 flights of stairs. This is called the Dago. It's a desktop extruder. If you've done a workshop, which I've seen some faces I can already see from this morning, essentially it's a little crank and there's a little screw in there and it forces plastic out the front. Now, this is a lot quicker than the process we make for our products. So it makes it perfect for demos and things like this. So I think what we'll try and do is I'll try and make a product in the time that you've demolded and tidied that product up. I don't know if I'll win. But
what are you going to make?
We're essentially going to take 2 scoops. I got a little purple scoop. I'll put it on the down camera so you guys can see.
You can kind of see you up there.
Can you? Hopefully on this down camera you can see the color. So these are the colors I'm working with. There we go. So the purple comes from protein shaker lids. The white comes from whiteboards that get donated to us from a company who produces whiteboards for schools. This material just gets landfilled. He had 1.2 tons because it had a printing error on one whiteboard, so it all got landfilled. So we said, please don't do that, and sent it to us. Actually, I need to screw the mold on first. This is a small pen mold. We're going to make a little dinky little pen like this, which is the newest thing we make currently. This gets put into our machine. Let's just get rid of that. There we go. You might see the plastic glooping out the end there. Glooping is a technical term, by the way, just if you didn't know. We put the plastic in the machine. Have you started yet? Or am I...
I haven't started yet.
Okay, ready? Go.
I've got this.
So this hand crank essentially is a little Archimedes screw. And the Archimedes screw is pushing the plastic into the mold. Well, Johnny's going slow.
I'm going slow as well. I'm not worried.
And this mold is now full of plastic. There's a little kind of end there that shows that it's full. I think I've got this, you know.
You done it?
I don't know.
I've been cocky with this.
I forgot about the bolts, to be fair. Oh, he's stuttering under pressure.
I'm fine.
Shall I come under the camera so you can see what I'm doing? So inside this product, this mold, hopefully, as a final product, are you looking for the knife?
There he is. You've got one.
Yeah, let's see. He's stalling me now. There you go.
Cheers, dude.
Inside this mold, hopefully, is a fully finished product made out of that mix of plastics that we put in. And usually on our machines, we have to wait kind of 8 to 10 minutes for this. But on this machine, it was almost instant, as you can see. There we go. And that little is a pen. You can see the little flecks of white going through from the whiteboards. We take this out. Get rid of that bit, and then you just pull this insert, which makes a really satisfying little sound. And then hopefully I've got an insert here for the pen. And the nice thing about these is that these are just standard inserts for standard pens that you can put a new one in yourself. Or if you, for some reason, don't want this pen anymore, again, it's that circular system. We can just take that and we can recycle it again and turn it into something else. I've finished. You done?
Pretty much.
No, that's definitely a me win. So there we go. And that was probably, about a minute and a half start to finish of making a product. And this is, really cool little products. It's something that obviously everyone is going to use a little pen like this. And I think doing workshops in schools and environments where people want to learn a little bit more about this, It's a cool little thing. And if you want to do this, by the way, we have 2 of these machines. We have, well, currently 1 because we've got one here. But there's 2 thanks, Dave. There's 2 of these machines over at C42, and we're running workshops all day where you can make your own products. We've got pens, carabiners, and spinning tops, or you can come along and make, and you can come along and make your own recycled bracelets as well. How are you looking?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm just faffing at this point. Do you want to have a little tidy up?
Oh, it's just shipping it off to me, look.
There you go.
See, I'm not good at drumming, but I'm all right at this.
But essentially, I think for us, ultimately, the way that it's kind of worked for us is the fact that we started very lean with our setup. We've only ever, it was £3 that got us going, and we've only ever reinvested the money. We've never taken investment or anything like that. We did get invited onto Dragon's Den once. Twice. We said no, because I don't want to have to answer to Peter Jones. I prefer to answer to my brother. And so it's, staying lean and just using the money that we've made. And then it's being really adaptable. That first video we did is nothing even remotely similar to what we're doing now. So if you have a shed, you have a cool idea, and you think it could work, I'd say give it a go. If it ends up working, it's probably going to be something very different to what you initially start out with. So it's definitely worth a shot. And be enthusiastic. Ultimately, our reason we started was just to hang out more. We weren't doing this to start a job. So the barrier for success was very easy. All we had to do was spend time together, and it was kind of ticking the box that you needed. But
that was the hard bit.
That was the hard bit. But ultimately, it's led us to where we are today, and it's led us to having a very cool job that we're very happy doing, coming to work every day, hanging out with my brother, and playing games and playing with plastic, which is really nice. How's that looking?
Yeah, it's looking good. It's actually really pretty.
Is it?
Yeah. Maybe you can put it on the camera for Steve-O.
But thank you for listening to our story. Do you have any questions at all?
There you go. I'll put it under there, look, side by side.
Oh, there you go. Coaster, looks like the world.
It does actually look like the planet, doesn't it?
There you go.
But yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have questions. We've got our main man here that's going to come around with a microphone if you want to ask anything.
Hey guys, very good. Yep. Let's have some questions. Any questions for the brothers make?
Please don't do that.
I'm joking.
Fantastic. There you go.
You say you have a circular process, you bring the plastics back in and then reuse them. If they're mixed colours, do you ever end up at a point where you just end up with like brown?
So, really good question. So we always separate by type, which we mentioned. So there's no, plastics will never be more than one type of plastic for recycling. There's a few, it depends. I got a lot of people coming here. I think a lot of 3D printers come to the show, and they said, can we send you our PLA, which we're just about to start taking, and Dave just dropped off a couple of bags. Yeah, I was going to be doing that tomorrow. We've got a few people doing the same thing. It depends on basically the format of the plastic. We get probably 100 kilos a year from most schools we work with of just bottle tops. And bottle tops are quite easy to separate because it's, you can just look at the colors, and we get work experience kids coming in, we get Duke of Edinburgh Award volunteers coming in, and it's a great job to sit there with a podcast and separate bottle tops. Obviously, there's a bit of a point of diminishing return when it comes to sorting plastic. So when it comes to things like 3D printing waste, bamboo poops, I'm sure there's some 3D printers in the audience, but we can separate all of it by hand, but at the same time, sometimes it's not worth it. So we have different mixes. We separate everything by color, so we've got things like this, and we've got beautiful color mixes so that any clients that we have can hand pick the colors they want to make. But at the same time, we can also just jumble everything together into a big, what we call jazz, and jazz can then just become a bit of a multicolored sheet. One of our actual top sellers, I don't know if I've got one, one of our top sellers is a product called Nebula. I don't. If you're over on the Brothers Make store on C42, look for a color called Nebula. It's a real like gray, sparkly, kind of galaxy-looking color, and that's made of all of our waste that we put together. All these little bits that come out, we put them all in one, we shred it all down together, and it makes such a cool color. It's our second best-selling color. So yeah, we always color separate wherever we can, but to a limit, if that helps.
I've got to say, that is such a good question that I'm going to have a gift for you, because good friends of mine, Black & Decker, you may have heard of them.
Worked out well.
Every now and again, if we get a good question, I want to say thanks to Black & Decker for donating to Make Essential 2026. What was your name? Adrian. Okay, Adrian.
There's going to be so many questions.
Oh my gosh. No, that's the only one. That is the only one. Well done, Adrian.
We got a question at the back.
I wanted to ask about recycling acrylic. So I work in a school where we laser cut lots of acrylic sheeting. I was wondering how easy it is to recycle that rather than it all end up going into waste.
That's a super good question. The reason this whole channel exists is because of acrylic waste, because as a DT, I taught DT for 10 years, and the amount of laser cut, I get the reason why, because it's teaching kids about the process, and I get how necessary it is, but it's a colossal amount of waste. And if you think about every school in the country doing that. So it's really tough to recycle. The machine, I mentioned we're getting a new machine soon, and that's called a sheet press, and it's good for time.
Yeah, very nice.
And the sheet press is going to make 1 meter by 1 meter sheets. On our stall, again, if you walk past, we've got a couple of little tables that have got small sheets. There's a purple one and a blue one. This will make 1 or 1.2 meter sheets squared. And I asked the company, I said, can it do acrylic? Because acrylic needs an intense amount of pressure and heat to be able to refuse it together. And they said maybe. They're going to test it. If that works, we are absolutely going to open our doors, and I'm sure we will get a flood of acrylic coming in, because I think pressing that into cool marble sheets and then re-laser cutting that, I think would be incredible. So yes, the answer is there is a potential. We're just hoping that the machine we get has that capability.
Thank
Great
you.
question.
You get 3 Black & Decker sets.
Let's calm down, brothers make. Okay. We got one more question here, okay? Okay, we'll take these. We've got a few like this. There we go.
How long, like, would the bench actually make you can do it commercially?
For a bench,
Yeah.
How long does it take to make?
I mean, I have
Thank you.
slight nightmares about making
Matt
benches.
hates making benches
Because
now.
the problem is they're so big and it just takes so much effort, and they're about 32 kilos of plastic in a bench. So it's amazing to make one because you recycle so much material. We made 10 in one batch, and start to finish, I think that process took about 3 weeks. Jaden then took about 14 months to pay us, but they got there in the end. But yeah, so I would say if you were just making one start to finish, you could probably do one in 2 or 3 days. With benches, the items you're making are so big that you've got to account for cooling. So as plastic cools, it shrinks, and if you work with it too quickly, you can kind of run into a few troubles. So you have to allow the plastic to cool, settle into what you need to do, and then you can machine it, you can cut it. It acts very much like timber.
Yeah.
It just has none of the issues like grain, so you don't have splitting and things like that. So it's really good to work with, but you just have to be a little bit specific about when you work with it.
And
But yeah,
a
good
huge
question.
part of that time is just taken up by collecting and washing and shredding down that much plastic. If you're doing it for a coaster and I'm melting down 15 bottle tops, that's quite easy, but having, a ton's worth of plastic does take a lot.
It's a lot.
Excellent question. You get the pen Matt made.
I
And
like
a
that we're
Black &
giving away.
Decker.
Hiya. I noticed for your loop cases you use cork.
Yes.
Are you going to be interested for your company ventures to incorporate other recyclable materials?
Oh, that's a good question.
Really good question.
We always said at the start we'd love to expand. I've been collecting aluminium cans for the best part of like 4 years, and my wife is going absolutely nuts with the box of things I've got. And I think I'll get a Devil Forge, which I think Davey's got, fill one up and do some casting. We used to do aluminium casting at school, and it was such a fun process. We'd love to work with glass. We'd like to recycle scrap metals. Yeah, absolutely. I think where we've done it in the past, because we have to have a little bit of a content head on, I think our audience is very plastic, like we want to see plastic. And I think as soon as we branch out a little bit, I think sometimes so we're trying not to be too dictated by views, but it is really hard when it's literally a business. So yes, the answer is yes, I'd love to be able to recycle a lot. And I think in the future, if we had a series where we went and talked to different artists doing different things, that would be amazing.
Yeah, when it comes to our products as well, I think we're definitely open to it. It's trying to find that balance with content as well, isn't it? 'Cause that's such a hard part. We did one video combining like some old firewood, wasn't it, and some plastic. It was such a bad video. It was a cool video, but no one watched it. So we've got to be a little bit careful about what we put on our channel. But in terms of our products, like the loop cases, really cool to be able to bring in different materials.
And we had a chat with, I don't know if any of you know Steve from Moonshine Metalworks. I haven't seen him in the audience, but he might be floating around, Mr. Steve. He would love to do a collaboration where we make knives or something where you combine scrap metal. And his idea, I didn't actually tell you this, his idea was to go on a beach collection where we collect the plastic and he collects scrap metal off the beach, and he could forge something and we could combine it with plastic, which I think would be such a cool video.
Really, really cool.
Such a cool video.
We do have what looks like an achy arm down here.
Oh, we got
one more? We've got time for one more?
Oh, yeah, we got one more, but this guy grabbed me off the stage with the lasers. He was saying, right.
Yeah, any chance that you guys could plan on doing the loops with for people who wear glasses?
Oh, it's a good question.
Yeah, that is like one of the most popular questions we get about loops. And as soon as we use prescriptions, it's then classed. Is it like as a medical item?
So in order to dispense glasses that have a prescription lens on it, you have to be a medical practitioner. You have to have a medical license. What was that? Sorry. The wraparound. Yeah, it's the problem is just the lens. As soon as because you can do it, but as soon as you've got it, it becomes something that's somebody has to give you a prescription, and you have to then dispense that to them. So I would love to be able to do it.
Yeah.
It's just every time we've explored that avenue, it's something that's really tricky. But yeah, it's a super popular question that we get. This hand holding is
ready?
admirable.
That is
I love
impressive.
Did your students of your school like your videos?
My students at my school.
No.
So it was really funny. I mentioned the school we made the pens, and I was teaching a year 7 class at the time, and they said, "Oh, Mr. Browning, how many subscribers have you got?" And I was really proud. I said, "Oh, it's about 60." And they were like, "Wow, 60 subscribers." They said 60,000 subscribers, and their little minds were blown. And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." They really liked it. I think you get a mixture of people that I think want to really interested in what you do, and certainly my students in like design technology, they really love what we do. And then you get a mixture of people that are just like, "Oh, he's trying to be a YouTuber," and all this stuff. So it's a mixture.
We were.
But we absolutely were, and we still are, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the most part, I got very positive feedback. And actually, if you come over to the store, one of our people working, Rob, is one of my ex-students. He was a sixth former when I was teaching, and we hired him, and he's one of our team now.
Your students did make a fan page for us at one point, remember?
Yeah, we did get a fan page made from our students.
Excellent work. You get the coaster.
Fantastic. Okay, I think we've got time for one more. A question, anyone?
One more.
Before... Oh, there we go.
I'm out of things we've made, I'm afraid.
I've got a pen.
Nice.
Hi there. In terms of YouTube success, do you think it's more important to have just a really good idea? How much does presentation and so on matter? Can you ignore presentation and just have a really good idea?
I sometimes think so. I mean, it's going to be a combination of both, realistically. I do think you need to have you can have an amazing idea if it's an unwatchable video that's going to be a 45-minute video that's one shot. That's going to be a struggle. But realistically, some of our most popular videos were the early ones where we haven't put much production, much thought into it. A lot of the time, it doesn't really help when our faces are in it, which is upsetting. So sometimes it's just our working hands. And like you said, if you've got a good idea, it's definitely worth doing. And work on the presentation later. Start getting the idea down. Short form content wasn't really a thing when we started, but that's an amazing way to test the waters because it's so easy to make a short. So I think, the idea is going to be key there.
I also think some people can get really hung up on having the best camera and the best lighting and the best audio. And yeah, it makes a difference. But at the same time, I think if it's inhibiting you getting started and just putting a few videos out, I can't remember which YouTuber it is now. It might be Casey Neistat. But basically the first 100 videos you make, kind of ignore them because at the same time, the viewers you're going to have 100 videos later, and we've only made 100 and something videos, so I'm not saying we're pros at this by any means, but it doesn't really matter your quality. I think as long as you're enthusiastic and you're doing something that you love, I think it's so obvious what comes off on camera. So just make something interesting. An idea is great as long as you're enjoying what you're doing. I think it's getting people bought into what you love to do.
I found a pen for you.
I want to say one more thing. I know we need to wrap up.
No, it's fine.
We've got a talk tomorrow. It's not really a talk. It's going to be a bit of a game. So anyone that's here for both days, we've got a game on this stage at 12:30 tomorrow. We're calling it...
The Maker's Blueprint.
The Maker's Blueprint. And
Thank you,
there's been a few prizes today. There's going to be more prizes tomorrow. So if Dave G doesn't win all of them, because he always does, then maybe pop along. And if you've got time at 12:30, we'd love to see you here. And yeah, we're going to be having a bit of a laugh and hopefully giving out some cool prizes.